Right, so update on Keir Starmer tearing apart the Labour Party and any pretense that it's a democratic institution anymore. As today, the Labour Party National Executive Committee voted on a motion Starmer himself had put before them, which I discussed in a video yesterday. Go and watch that if you want to read the motion itself in full. But the basic gist of it was that in order to prevent Jeremy Corbyn from being able to be selected by his local party to stand as their candidate at the next general election, he would be permitted to stay a Labour member, but would be blocked from standing as a parliamentary candidate on the basis of electability. Crucial point to note is that nowhere in that motion was anti-Semitism mentioned. And of course, if Corbyn were guilty of any such thing, you would expect him to be expelled from the party, not permitted to remain within it with all the rights a Labour member is typically entitled to, except the one where you can stand for Parliament, that is. One motion to strip one aspect of Labour membership from one man in one constituency. And we're expected to just accept this is about the party being electable? Accept this as somehow democratic? He's taking the Labour rule book, he's doing a great big Starmer-shaped dump right in the middle of it, then etching the words honesty and integrity into it for good measure. This is as anti-democratic a move as I've ever seen. Functionally, they've told Corbyn, we'll let you die a Labour member if you just go quietly into the night now. It's an insult to a man who has been a Labour member for 50-odd years and an MP for 40 of those. Of course, today started with the Labour right spouting nonsense ahead of this NEC meeting, with the media salivating over it as they were. And this vote and all eyes on the left were on. Now, I turned on Twitter this morning, and I don't know what it is with their algorithm these days since Musk took over, but I'm guaranteed to be faced with somebody I can't stand at the top of my feed every day. Is it just me? It usually turns out to be Rachel Reeves, which is all I need first thing in the morning. But today it was Mike Katz. And if you don't know who he is, he's the national chair of the Jewish Labour movement. Starmer's chosen Jews, the right sort, not the left sort. He had gleefully tweeted out, whilst retweeting The Sun, I might add, inferring that stopping Corbyn is exactly what was needed to make Labour electable again. He said, Corbyn showed zero contrition or responsibility for the toxic anti-Semitism which flourished in Labour on his watch, even when the EHRC said the party broke equality's law. Contrary to froth and fuming on the crank left, this will win Starmer votes. Nice chap, isn't he? Funnily enough, he was interviewed about anti-Semitism by Jewish News in 2016, back when he was a JLM vice chair, at which point he had admitted he'd never seen any anti-Semitism. That's a year into Corbyn's leadership, incidentally. Oh, and if you're going to throw accusations of racism around, best not to talk about that and equalities in the same tweet, whilst also making a mental health slur at the same time. You melt. Katz brought the subject of anti-Semitism up in his tweet. It was not brought up in Starmer's motion, so why mention it, Mike? Well, we all know why, don't we? It's that electability bit, though, that is mentioned in Starmer's motion, and you have to look at what happened in 2019 with Labour, where Jeremy Corbyn did oversee the loss of 52 almost exclusively red wall seats, leave voting seats, because by that point Starmer had committed his little act of sabotage, hadn't he, by declaring Labour a Remain party, seeking his second referendum. Starmer was Mr. Remain, was he not? And he's calling Corbyn unelectable because those seats were lost for going along with his referendum idea. An idea Starmer binned as soon as he became leader himself, of course. Starmer, a man of principles, but if you don't like them, he's got plenty of others. Katz wasn't the only one to drag anti-Semitism into a discussion where it had no relevance today, though, as Ed Miliband, the Jewish former Labour leader, spoke to the BBC on Radio 4, who called this an important constitutional principle. No, it isn't, Ed. It's moving the goalposts unnecessarily and undemocratically. But he also brought up the background to this move, saying it was to do with Corbyn's conduct regarding those EHRC findings into Labour anti-Semitism. Corbyn's right to comment that he felt the media had overstated it, protected under those same EHRC rules the likes of Katz and Go have chosen to use against him today. Corbyn was the only MP, incidentally, to rally to Miliband's side when his father, Ralph Miliband, was labelled as the man who hated Britain by the rancid Daily Fail. Nice way to repay the gesture, Ed. Where was the support for Corbyn ahead of today? Where were the Socialist campaign group of Labour MPs? Silence, tumbleweed. The only Labour MP who spoke up for Corbyn ahead of today was Barry Gardiner, a decent guy. The only one, apparently. But as much as Starmer loyalists showed their hands in the lead up to that vote, the results of it were of no surprise, really, as the NEC voted to block Jeremy Corbyn from standing as a Labour parliamentary candidate by 22 votes to 12. Just 12 members of the NEC actually stood up for basic democracy today. The precedent has now been set that the NEC can get rid of anyone seen to be a bit awkward with a simple motion. No need to involve members. Let them have a say. They can dispatch anyone they want to now. Just 12 members of Labour's highest ruling body saw that. They deserve mention for doing so, of course. They were Mish Rahman, Jessica Barnard, Gemma Bolton, Yasmin Dar and Anne Black, representing ordinary constituency Labour Party members, along with Andy Kerr from the Communications Workers Union, Ian Murray from the Fire Brigades Union, Nicola Dukes from the TSSA Rail Union, Mick Whelan from the ASLEF Rail Union, and Jane Taylor and Tony Woodhouse from Unite. The 12th person was Ellen Morrison, the NEC Disabilities rep. Thanks to every single one of you for doing what was right and what should have been bloody obvious. We know there were abstentions too, so I can't be certain at this moment in time who all the ones who voted for Starmer's motion are, but I can hazard a guess. I've linked to the Labour Party NEC members page so you can have a look and see who you think probably backed it. I can't imagine why they haven't been forthcoming so far, but known abstentions were Deputy Leader Angela Rayner. She excused herself from this vote, and the two reps from the Unison Union both abstained as well, which is causing apparent outrage backstage in that union. All the other affiliated unions with representatives on the NEC, we know, did back Starmer's motion. So if you're in the GMB, USDAW, or the Musicians Union, can I suggest you think about finding better representation? Corbyn himself is yet to publicly announce what he's doing at time of writing. You can be sure I'll cover it when he does. Momentum, the Labour Party affiliates born out of a desire to promote Corbyn's policies, will be in a bit of a bind should Corbyn opt to leave Labour and stand as an independent, I would imagine. What good will they be? But despite condemning the move by Starmer, Momentum's founder, John Lansman, has said he won't be campaigning for Corbyn because he wants Starmer to win. I wonder what the current Momentum leadership will do. Are you on the same page as Mr. Lansman or no? Corbyn may well take some time to mull over his next move. He may already have a plan in place. I'll cover it when we get to it. Starmer didn't invite him to speak at the NEC meeting in his own defence, though. In fact, Corbyn was given just 10 minutes' notice of the motion before Starmer had it plastered all over social media. If only he was so committed to taking on the Tories. That is what he was elected to do, after all. This petty vendetta against Corbyn will have done him, nor those who voted this move through, any favours. Socialism has long been persecuted under Starmer's leadership. Now democracy has gone too. Labour membership cards referring to a democratic socialist party should now be done for trading standards. Thanks for watching. If you appreciated this video, please do hit like and subscribe, leave a comment and hit the notification bell too so you don't miss the next one. Also look out for me on social media and other interesting stuff by clicking on that Linktree link in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Cheers, folks.